hammer god. Thunderstone Reach belonged to the beast. Down from the Garaheta Mesa, the storm vault had toppled, dislodged by the wild magic of the necroquake. That hadn't stopped the children of Gorkamorka. Amidst the horror of the crawling pits, titanic arachnids haunted the web-filled ruins. But this hadn't slowed the rampaging armies of the wild. Not even the Hammer God's warriors had been able to stand before the warg. Well, no. That wasn't quite fair. Gordrakk Gitcracker mused. The lightning warriors had fought well, this one, a chief, judging by her long cloak and the markings covering her armour, had battled on even after the megaboss had crushed her legs. The warrior tried to reach for her fallen sword, numb fingers scrabbling weakly against the grip. A frustrated snarl left her as she accidentally knocked the blade further away. The lightning warrior shot a glare at the towering Orruk. Her teeth were gritted. "You won't win, Greenskin," she spat. "Garahenta will be your tomb. Our hunters roam the wastes even now, bringing death to your mongrel kindred." "Maybe," said Gordrakk. Thick pig-iron plates clanked together as he shrugged. It was true that plenty of the Great Warg's outriders had been ambushed along the ruin-scarred wastes and caverns of Garenta. Gordrakk didn't know how those battles had gone. Neither did he care. "Maybe they crump us, maybe we crump them. Doesn't matter much to me."
"The God King will punish you," the lightning warrior snarled. "I'll be there to see."
"Oh, shut it," the megaboss grumbled as he stomped a foot down onto the human skull. The bone crumpled easily, her body falling limp. In moments, the warrior discorporated into a brilliant azure light and shot heavensward. Gordrakk stumbled back with a grunt as the scouring beam singed his face, piggish eyes following the departing soul energy. He liked to imagine that it noticed the crude gesture he shot it. With the foe dispatched, Gordrakk returned his attention to his immediate surroundings. All the cunning spell traps and arcane defences put in place by the Thunderstone Reach creators had been eradicated by sheer bestial will. Iron jaws guffawed as they broke open vestibules and lopped the heads off statues. Painted bone splitters charged down web-strewn tunnels, bellowing nonsense war songs. Troggoths swallowed priceless relics whole, whilst ogres rummaged within the loot for gaudy valuables. Everywhere, grots scurried about, be they moonclang wretches daubing obscene graffiti on the walls, or the maniac spider-fang dwellers of the crawling pits, now swept up in the Great Warg's wake. It was anarchic, it was primal, it was the way things should be. Gordrakk was almost tempted to join in himself, but he was a megaboss, and more than that, he was one of the Fist of Gork's chosen lads. He had places to be. Bracing his chopper over his shoulder, the megaboss lumbered into the darkness of the ruined storm vault. Things scuttled in the shadows, occasionally hissing at him or staring with far too many eyes. A snarl from the hulking Orruk put them in their place. Gordrakk wasn't sure how long he'd been walking before he reached the inner sanctum of Thunderstone Reach, a great semicircular chamber bisected by a curving wall. One thing about Umis was that they couldn't help but show off. Certainly the megaboss had no doubt that the faded golden doors set into the wall, carved with images of the Hammer God besting Gur's biggest critters and left shaken but intact by the vault's collapse, concealed impressive loot. A mob of gargants had been set to heave at the door, with great crudely forged chains. Ancient hinges groaned and creaked, but the arcane wards that still clung to the doors rendered them inviolable to simple force. "So," uttered a rumbling voice. It belonged to the dark shape stood at the centre of the gargant mob,
physically dwarfed, yet somehow overmatching them in presence. Within Ungrakk's barrel chest, his heart drummed harder.
You finished crumping them yet?
Every denizen of Gur, from the lowliest grot to the mightiest megaboss, knew of Gordrakk. They'd heard legends of his booming voice, his terrible battle fury, his Gork-granted favour. Few realized that he could be so still. Not a muscle twitched as Gordrakk watched the thwarted process of his minions. His scarred visage never wavered from the sealed doors. At his side, the twin axes, Smasher and Cunning, rested motionless, their crude but deadly edges catching the limited light, refracting it, shattering it, as they did all things.
"There's still a few of 'em mucking around outside, boss,"
said Gordrakk as he approached.
"Sneaking and ambushing and whatnot. Bracker said that some of 'em had a bunch of ogres with 'em, but boys will run 'em down soon enough."
A bass growl echoed from the shadowed extremities of the chamber. Gordrakk tried not to look Big Teeth directly in the eye, though he felt the Maw Crusher watching him intently. The beast was subservient to the Fist of Gork, but it always regarded other megabosses with a hungering gaze. Gordrakk accepted the report with a wordless grunt. Attempting to lie would have been fruitless. The Fist of Gork could sniff out anything that was not the raw and simple truth. He stared to the sealed doors with such quiet intensity that Gordrakk half expected them to suddenly crumble inwards of their own accord. Stopping a pace or two behind the megaboss of megabosses, Gordrakk scratched at the side of his own scarred face before clearing his throat.
"You think there's something big in there, boss?"
Another grunt in reply.
"Like something real big? 'Cause the boys have been asking when we is gonna get moving again. I've been having to say, wait, though, 'cause I thought there was probably something in there worth having. When I first came to these lands, I zogging hated 'em,"
Gordrakk rumbled. Gordrakk flinched in surprise. He hadn't expected the Fist of Gork to answer, much less change the subject.
"Chaos boys that puked everywhere, or split in half, or laughed when you smashed 'em. Dead gits who snap like twigs. Tree gits and stunties and pointy ears, all off hiding. Some of them Chaos boys, they could fight, but it weren't many. But then, the Amagod sent his lads."
Gordrakk's eyes lit up with a vicious light at the memory.
"Big armor, big weapons, good in a scrap. Zog me, Gordrakk. They even came back for more when you smashed them."
Gordrakk's green hand crashed against the megaboss's shoulder, staggering Gordrakk.
"Finally, I thought, there's a proper fight. And for a time, that was enough. And they let me down."
Gordrakk seemed almost to sigh. A lesser being may have mistaken the sound for wistfulness. Gordrakk knew that it was frustration. It was always frustration. Smasher and Cunning twitched as the Fist of Gork tapped his fingers on their grips.
"They started building cities. They started throwing about magic. They had gubbins in places like this."
He gestured around the inner sanctum.
"That's when I've realized, Gordrakk, Stormlads, they're just like all the others. They're just another git, not worthy of fighting me."
Big Teeth's growl echoed his master's growing displeasure. Gordrakk swallowed. He wasn't sure if this was an invitation to respond, or if Gordrakk would respond as violently to questioning as he did to most other things. But the Oric's curiosity was piqued.
"There's got to be someone out there worth getting crumped by you, boss." "The Amagod."
The bubbling fury in Gordrakk's voice saw Gordrakk flinch again. A predator's rumble escaped the Fist of Gork, spittle running past sharpened tusks.
"The Amagod's the only one still worth fighting. He's a proper warrior, proper enough to earn the respect of Gorkamorka. But times changed."
Gordrakk's eyes narrowed as he gripped his eyes tighter.
"Now, the Amagod eyes up in the stars. He's forgotten who he was.
But I know I can kick over every one of his precious little cities. I can duff up the biggest and hardest of his champions. I can grind these realms to dust beneath my boot. But I ain't gonna be satisfied till I can get at the git who fought Gorkamorka to a standstill.
The hulking Orc shook his head.
I ain't gonna be satisfied till I've had a crack at the Hammer God.
One moment he was still. The next, Gordrakk was in motion, iron-shod boots clanging against the cracked stone floor. As he neared the doorway, the Fist of Gork raised cunning. The axe sundered magic, shattered sorcery, annihilated the perfidious arcane. It was with savage enthusiasm that Gordrakk swung the blade. The doors blasted off their hinges. Urgak, alongside several of the gargants, twitched as metal scraped loudly across the floor. The magical wards flickered before the surge of warg energy obliterated them. An echoing silence descended over the vault once more, before a growl from Big Teeth saw Urgak follow after the Fist of Gork. Zephyrs of broken magic flickered around the orcs, offering paltry illumination. Standing a pace behind Gordrakk, Urgak lifted his gaze into the darkness. His barrel jaw dropped. Suspended upon thick chains and surrounded by dead-eyed statues hung a truly titanic beast skull. Behemoths horns curled from its temples, whilst its great eye sockets were rimmed by burn marks. The skull's crown was covered in notches and blows beyond number. None had left more than a superficial imprint.
I'm a god,
said Gordrakk.
One of the hardiest beasties there ever was.
There was an odd inflection in the Fist of Gork's voice. For the first time that Urgak could recall, Gordrakk was smiling. It was the grin of a being for whom the future was certain, who would batter fate itself into submission if he had to.
Hammer God, for the Hammer God. If he won't come and fight me, then I won't give him the choice. I'll smash up his Ponzi empire. I'll break down the gate to his star realm myself if I gotta. I'll crush everything in my way until there's just me and him, the great green god and the Hammer God, and then we'll see who's best. Get the boys to build a ram, Urgak, my lad.
Gordrakk chortled. His eyes never left the Hammer God's skull.
I got plans for this thing, and I know just what to test it out on first.